I'd like to talk about three things quickly: change, productivity and performance, as well as innovation. First thing I'd like to introduce is our new crime scene team. In the last 4 years, since 2010, we have actually hired and had a turnover with either expansion or with changing in staff, 63% of our staff. So we've hired 63% new staff in the last 4 years. And during that period of time, we've still had to become productive and progressive. This would not have been possible without Walt Green. We went forward with about a year's time frame to replace all of our police officers on the crime scene unit. We achieved that. We hired our first person in August of 2013. We had the whole team hired by roughly August and September of this year. During that period, we also got them working on the street and handling calls and training them into the Denver Police Department system. That would not have been possible without the dedication of Walter Green. He retired as a police sergeant, and he was rehired as a deputy director in charge of crime scene and field operations, so he deserves a great recognition for that. And I want to talk a little bit about productivity. During that period from 2010 to 2014, we also hired new investigators or analysts for the latent print unit as part of the civilianization. And during that period, we have increased our productivity, the combination of the crime scene team as well as the latent print team, which also introduced new technology, of 186% increase in the number of leads handed back to officers on the street. So that means for latent print examinations, we have tripled our productivity from 2010 to today. The other thing that we do in the crime lab is we have two other major databases, the first being the DNA databank, CODIS. We are aggressive at using DNA, as has been mentioned by DA Morrissey and others, and we lead the nation, and we are a world model for how to implement DNA into a crime lab. During the last 4 years, we've actually increased the number of matches given to detectives by our DNA database by 120%. Consequently, we also have a firearms database where we collect every shell casing from the streets of Denver. Within 72 hours, those shell casings go into a database called NIBIN, which is the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. Aside from our database matches, which have dramatically increased, we've also created a team with ATF called the Crime Gun Intelligence Center. And basically what this is focused investigations on gun crimes that come after the matches are made on that shell casing database. So every semi-automatic firearm weapon that comes into our property bureau, we collect that, we test fire it, put that on the database. Every shell casing that hits the streets of Denver is collected and put into that database within 72 hours. When those matches occur, we then take that intelligence and give it to a team of investigators for firearms tracing and then for traditional investigations. That team with ATF and Denver Police Department, as well as Aurora PD and Lakewood PD, has resulted in the arrest of 25 individuals that have been linked to 40 shootings since its inception in 2012, late 2012. That project is now a model for ATF, and ATF is changing its entire operating structure around modeling exactly what we did in Denver throughout the country. The last part of it is innovation. And our crime lab proudly has a very large and effective research program. We have just under 1.5 million in two major research projects. One, to isolate sperm from rape kits so we can speed the processing of rape kit examinations up. That is a national model where we worked with a biotech company in Boulder to develop that, and that is going to be becoming a major product in the next few years, as well as developing a system for searching database for family members. So if you have a DNA profile from a case and you have no matches, we can search that database to see in that database if there are any family members. That can lead us to potential solving the case. And we've shared that around the nation and around the world, that technology. So Denver was the first in the United States to ever do that. And we're quite proud of that. It's an honor to work with people as dedicated to the mission of helping make Denver a safer place than the people sitting here. I think Denver has something to be proud of in its police department, and certainly something to be proud of with its crime laboratory.